As defined per the 12-factor app methodology, the configuration of an application should live in a different place than the code itself. The configuration usually being a plain text file containing a list of key pair values used to configure the parameters and initial settings of computer programs in order to customize their behavior. Now, since the configuration usually varies across the different deployment environments, such as development, staging, or production, it is often considered a best practice to store it as constants within the code. Indeed, having to manually change per deploy hard-coded values every time the application needs to be redeployed in a different environment would introduce an unmanageable overhead for developers and also prevent the creation of an automated release pipeline. Moreover, declaring sensitive information such as database or third-party credentials within the code in clear text potentially constitutes a very severe security breach. As a rule of thumb, the easiest way to verify that an application has all of its configuration factored out of the code is to ask yourself if the code base could be made open source at any point in time without risking compromising any credentials or sensitive information. So in this lesson, we're going to create a configuration file for the development environment. So let's start by creating a new directory named config, and within it, a configuration file named .env.development. Note that files that follow this naming convention are usually referred to as .env file, which is a convention derived from the npm package of the same name, where each file is prefixed with the env expression, followed by the name of the deployment environment it is intended for. So let's open up this file and define the following variable into it that will be later used by the server as a port for listening to incoming requests. Note that since the variables of this configuration file will be loaded in the environment of the process upon startup, we will follow the Unix naming standard for environment variables, which is the screaming snake case, where each space is replaced by an underscore and all characters are written in uppercase. Now, in order for NotDaemon to monitor our new configuration file, which is something that it doesn't do by default, we have to slightly modify the dev script in the package.json file by explicitly specifying which file to watch using the watch option flag. So once we've done that, we can restart our application and move on to the next step. Git considers every file in your working copy as one of three things: tracked, untracked, and ignored. Tracked refers to files which have been previously staged or committed. Untracked refers to files which have not been staged or committed. And ignored refers to files which Git has explicitly been told to ignore. In the third case, ignored files are specified in the form of a list of patterns in a special file named gitignore located in the top-level directory of the project. When running a command such as git add, these patterns are matched against the file names to be committed in order to determine whether or not they should be ignored. Since our configuration file followed the .env naming convention, we can add the following pattern to our existing gitignore file so that any file prefixed with the env expression will be automatically ignored by Git and therefore never committed to the repository. So once we've done that, we can now easily verify that the configuration files are indeed ignored using the git status command, which shows the current status of files that are tracked by Git. And as you can see here, neither the config directory nor its content appear on the list of the files tracked by Git.